In the world of tech, you've got some serious giants clashing, but honestly, few battles are as important as the one for the screens in your life. Today, we're diving deep into Samsung versus LG and why the year 2025 changes absolutely everything.
So, let's just get it out there. The reign of the LCD is over. For years, it was the standard, right? But now it's all about OLED. We're talking screens with those perfect, inky blacks, incredible color, and you can even fold them in half. Both Samsung and LG have totally shifted gears, and now it's a full-on war for OLED supremacy. But this is not your ordinary head-to-head battle.
And this is the real heart of our story today. You have to forget about a simple head-to-head fight. What we have are two titans with two completely different playbooks. One is building this massive, unbreachable fortress. The other is betting the entire kingdom on one single, decisive, all-or-nothing move.
So, why 2025? What is it about this year that makes it such a critical pivot point? It's because the rules of the game have just fundamentally changed. I mean, the old strategies for winning in the display market, they're basically obsolete now. For years, winning was pretty simple. Just build more factories and sell more screens. That was the whole capacity is king era. Well, that era is over. Now, it's this incredibly complex game of who has the best tech, who has the best ecosystem, and who can navigate this crazy web of global regulations.
All right, first up, let's talk about Samsung Display, or SDC. In our story, they are Goliath, the massive, seemingly unbeatable incumbent. And their strength, it doesn't just come from their display business. It comes from the enormous empire that it's just one small part of.
Just look at this. The entire display division, it's less than 10% of Samsung Electronics' profit. The real engine here is semiconductors, and it's being supercharged by the whole AI revolution. This means the display business has this ironclad financial safety net. A storm in the screen market? For the Samsung empire, that's just a little bit of drizzle. This is their fortress.
And this number, wow, this just perfectly illustrates the power of that fortress. 100%. In 2025, while the rest of the market was facing some serious headwinds, Samsung Display's factories were running at full capacity, 24/7. So how is that even possible?
Well, their secret weapon is something called vertical integration. You see, Samsung Display has a guaranteed high-paying customer that never leaves. Itself. The Samsung mobile division is this hungry beast, just devouring millions of cutting-edge screens for the latest Galaxy phones. It's like a Michelin star restaurant that also owns its own farm. No matter what the market does, that farm is always busy. This synergy keeps their factories humming, it funds their R&D, and it gives them an almost unbeatable head start in the tech race.
Now, let's turn to our challenger. If Samsung is the entrenched Goliath, then LG Display is David. And they are making a bold, totally audacious bet. They have no fortress. In fact, they've basically burned the boats, committing everything they have to a single mission, pure OLED dominance.
I mean, just look at this transformation. In just 5 years, LG went from OLED being kind of a side project to their main event. Selling that massive LCD factory, that was the point of no return. And now, they're doubling down, pouring money into an OLED-only future. This isn't just a pivot, it's a full-blown revolution.
And this slide right here, it just lays bare the stakes. A debt ratio of over 243% for LG. Now compare that to Samsung's rock-solid 29.9%. LG is funding this revolution on borrowed time and borrowed money. This is a high-wire act with absolutely no safety net. So where is this all-or-nothing bet actually being placed? Well, it's not a broad attack. LG is focusing its fire on really high-value targets. We're talking next-gen AI PCs, premium mobile devices, and that growing slice of the automotive market. They are betting they can own the most valuable screens of the future, from your laptop all the way to your car. Okay, so we've seen the strategies, a fortified empire versus a super risky pivot. But talk is cheap, right? What do the actual numbers say? Let's get into the nitty-gritty financial reality of this high-stakes game. First, let's just look at spending power. In 2025, Samsung Display invested nearly $2 billion into new facilities and tech. That is double, literally double what LG Display could afford to spend. This gap just shows you Samsung's raw ability to outmuscle its rival when it comes to building the next generation of factories. And here's the result of all that efficiency and scale. A profit margin of nearly 14% for Samsung Display versus a razor-thin 2% for LG Display. Think about it this way.
For every dollar of sales, Samsung is making almost 7 times more profit. It's a staggering difference in profitability. This table really tells the whole story, doesn't it? Their revenues are in the same ballpark, but there's a massive chasm in profitability. Samsung is just a well-oiled machine, turning its assets into profit with incredible efficiency. LG, well, they're the challenger, still fighting to find their footing.
But wait, there's a pretty big catch to LG's profit number. And before we reveal it, you need to understand this key concept: non-recurring income. It's basically money a company makes from a one-time event, like selling off a major asset. It's not profit from its day-to-day business of, actually making and selling stuff. And here's the twist. LG's reported profit of $364 million, well, it includes a one-time cash injection of $534 million from selling their factory. If you take that away, their core business was still losing money in 2025. Their big comeback story? It hasn't quite been written yet.
So, with all this laid out, what's the final verdict here? How should we really think about these two companies and their completely different paths forward?
It really just boils down to two very different investment profiles. Samsung represents stable, steady growth. It's a bet on a powerful, diversified giant that's deeply woven into the entire AI revolution, from the chips to the screens to the devices themselves. LG Display, on the other hand, is a classic high-risk, high-reward comeback story. If the AI PC and automotive display markets totally explode and their bet pays off, the upside could be huge. But as we've seen, the financial risks are just as significant.
This quote from the analysts at HDIN Research just perfectly sums up the new reality. The winner isn't just going to be the one who can build the most panels. They'll have to master this complex dance between bleeding-edge technology, a powerful ecosystem of partners and internal customers, and navigating a super complex global landscape.
And that brings us to our final question for you. In this new three-dimensional battlefield, where do you place your bet? Do you go with the financial strength and the integrated might of Samsung's fortress? Or do you bet on the focused, all-or-nothing gambit of the challenger, LG Display? The answer to that question is going to shape the future of the screens we interact with every single day. If you want to dig even deeper into the data, you should definitely check out the full reports from HDIN Research. Thanks for joining us.